We're talking with the leaders of a workshop at DML 2016 on creating inclusive maker programs and environments. So why don't we start out by introducing yourselves, and then we'll go.
Hi, I'm Kylie Peppler. I'm an associate professor of learning sciences at Indiana University, and I direct a research group called the Creativity Labs. I've also been leading the MacArthur Foundation's Make to Learn initiative for several years now. And so I'm really excited to join you for DML this year and to help facilitate this session with Jessica.
And I'm Jessica Ross, and I work at Project Zero, which is a research group at Harvard Graduate School of Ed. And the project I've been working on for the past 3 years is called Agency by Design, which has looked at the promises, practices, and pedagogies of maker-centered learning. And I've also had the pleasure of working with Kylie, looking at the Open Portfolio project, so thinking about portfolios for Maker. And I'm really excited to enter into this conversation about inclusive maker programs and environments for DML this year.
So what are you looking forward to happening in your workshop, which is 3 hours long?
Kylie, do you want to start?
Yeah, well, I want to invite everybody to come, join us. And, we wouldn't be doing making unless, talking about making unless we actually did some making together. And so you can expect to sort of enter the space with us and just get started doing some hands-on making. There's going to be a range of materials available. We'll be there facilitating the session. You can expect things like, paper roller coasters and start to build those yourself, e-textiles, so electronics that are embedded in textile artifacts or clothing that you can sew together, paper circuits, squishy circuits, and other kinds of commercial toolkits like Little Bits. So this is a chance to kind of try those things yourself and sort of learn more about how we've been thinking about maker spaces and some of the lessons learned across different spaces across the country, as well as just some traditional crafts. Making doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be something new, and you don't have to order anything. It could be just engaging a grandparent. And so we'll have a range of materials to get you started. And then we'll switch gears and we'll be talking a little bit about what the research and some of the frameworks are to sort of guide this notion of creating an inclusive maker program. Jessica, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I think I'm excited about hopefully coming into the room and everybody getting their hands dirty and playing first, and then really having a conversation. We've been lucky to have conversations with folks across the country in the past several years, like, we have a space and we put some stuff in it and we don't know what to do, or we're curious about how we can invite these learners into a maker space and doing maker-centered learning. We're curious about teachers who are a little intimidated by coming into this space and trying to understand what kind of thinking and learning can happen into this space. Lots of things also about how maker-centered learning and maker spaces fit into the ecology of K-12 or informal, and where does it fit, and who does it, and who feels comfortable in the room. And so I'm hoping that we have all those kinds of conversations during the day as well.
Presumably the people who are coming to your workshop are interested in making their own maker programs and environments. What's the inclusive part, and how do you do that?
Well, we've been studying, an array of makerspaces across the country. And what we've been really seeing is that there's a set of design principles that the way the space is designed, the tools and materials that you choose, and the kinds of activities and ways that you engage and the pedagogical techniques actually can really radically change who feels included in the environment, who feels invited. And so we'll be talking about those design principles. We'll be talking about just lessons learned, things that you can do to sort of shift the space without a high dollar cost, but that you can start speaking to people. One of those, for example, is about having the materials in the open. So materials that you can see, projects that you can see. If they're behind closed doors, don't seem as accessible and are not as inclusive. So even if you have cotton balls and you have different kinds of crafting materials in the space, if they're not visible, people don't know that they're there. So they don't know that the tools and materials that they would like to use or that they're comfortable using are there. So we'll talk a little bit more about that visibility being one of those kinds of design principles for the space.
Jessica, what about the learning aspects of this pedagogy?
Well, I mean, another thing to add on to, first of all, what Kylie said is, and inclusivity also can happen just with the adults in a school or space where maker is. Some people feel very drawn and comfortable and confident, and even adults, before we even get some of the young people in the room, don't feel quite so. And then the other question that comes up that we've looked at for the past few years is, well, so what kind of thinking and learning goes on here? And how can exploration of materials and this kind of sometimes tinkering and playing stuff that looks a little bit like playing around, what are the opportunities for really thinking with these materials and during these opportunities? So we name a couple of things in our project, the opportunities just to really look closely and to explore complexity and to find opportunity. So what are the opportunities that paper affords, or paper when you add some other circuits to it or just add tape to it? And so hopefully we'll be able to, as we're playing, stop and notice those moments for learning during our time together.
It sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And good luck. Have fun.
Thank you.